This lesson is Chapter 7, Lesson 5, and this is about solving problems using percents. So, there are 2 steps involved with this. So your objective is to solve 2-step linear equations in one variable, meaning there's only going to be one variable in the problem, over the rational numbers. So, and we have rational numbers, which are fractions here. And we're going to be able to do this with 80% accuracy. Please don't forget to put Chapter 7, Lesson 5 on your notes, 7.5. And don't forget to write the objective and the date. So here we go. I'm starting with guided practice. I'm doing this video a little bit differently, and we're going to see how this goes. So instead of you writing examples, you have to write the problem, and you have to write everything I write on the board. If you want to write more, if I say something that I don't write on the board and you want to write it, go ahead and write it. Here we go. We're solving a percent problem here, and I can see that because I have P, and it doesn't matter what the variable is. P could be anything, but I have P over 100, and I know all percents are out of 100, right? So since all percents are out of 100, I have some number out of 100, but I don't know what it is. I'm trying to find out what percent that is. So the variable P represents the unknown, the percent that we don't know. So we used P for percent, but it doesn't matter if it's an X or a Y or an A or a B. You're still just searching for the percent of another number. Now, what number am I searching for the percent of? Well, that's the other part. I'm searching for the percent of 13 out of 25. So let's think of some scenarios here where we would have 13 out of 25. Okay, if there's 25 questions on a test and you got 13 right, what's the percent? What percent did you get on that test? Okay, if I have $25 and I spent $13, what's the percent that I spent? Okay, or if I have $25 and I have $13 left, what percent do I have left? So what we're finding out is what percent is 13 out of 25. So I'm going to write that as a question. So this means what percent is 13 out of 25. And the way we solve these proportional problems or percent problems is using cross multiplication. I know you guys want to use cross multiplication every time you see a fraction, but really the only time we use cross multiplication is when we have a variable that we're solving for. So I'm trying to solve for P. So since I have a variable I'm solving for, and I'm going to label this variable so we don't forget what it is. Since we have a variable we're solving for, we're going to use cross multiplication. So in cross multiplication here, we're going to multiply 13 times 100 and 25 times P. So 25 times P is equal to 13 times 100 using cross multiplication. 25 times P is 25P, and 13 times 100 is 1,300. Now I'm solving for the variable P. So now this is the second step. You've already done the cross multiplication. That was the first step. The second step now is to divide. We're dividing because 25 is being multiplied by P. That's multiplication. If we want to get that P isolated by itself, we need to do the opposite or the inverse of multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we need to divide. How much do we have to divide by depends on how much you're multiplying by. I am multiplying by 25. Since I'm multiplying the variable times 25, that's how much I have to divide by. So I'm going to divide by 25 here. The property of equality says whatever you do to one side of an equation, you must do the same thing to the other side. That means I must divide by 25 here as well. So 25 divided by 25 is 1. 1 times p is just p. 1,300 divided by 25. Let's do long division. So we have 1,300 divided by 25. 25 does not go into 1. 25 does not go into 13, sorry. 25 does go into 130. Okay, 25 goes into 130, 5 times. That's 125. Subtract. 130 minus 125 is 5. Bring down the 0. 25 goes into 50 2 times. 25 times 2 is 50. Subtract. No remainder. So, 52%. P is 52. P is 52. So now let's replace the P, substitute, with our original fraction here, this fraction. Since P is 52, we have 52 over 100. 52 out of 100 is 52%. So what is 52%? It's the percent that 13 is of 25. So what does that mean? So it means, let's go back to our scenarios. If you got 13 correct on a test with 25 questions, it means you got 52% on that test. If you had $25 and you spent 13, what percent do you have left? You have 52% of your money left. If you had $25 and you spent some and now you still have 13, how much do you have? You have 52% of the $25 left. Some of you are saying, but I thought the way to find the percent was to multiply the denominator by a number that makes it 100. Well, sure, that's what we did, and let's see if we get the same answer if we do that again. So I'm going to write that in blue. So if we started with this fraction, and I said, please convert 13 out of 25 to percent. You could choose to multiply the denominator by a number that gets 100. So I'm going to multiply by some number that will equal 100. What number can I multiply by 25 to get 100? 4. So I would need to multiply 13 by the same number, 13 times 4. 13 times 4 is 52. Same answer, 52%. So yes, you can do it this way. Okay? So now I'm teaching you another way to do it, using cross multiplication and solving for a variable. Either way is fine. Okay? I'm giving you this way because what if the 13 was the missing number but I had the percent? Or what if the 25 was the missing number? So those are the types of problems we're going to work with today. So let's keep going and finish this. What I'd like you to do though is please, in your own words, I want you to write some scenario for this. So, a scenario. A scenario might be something like, if I took a test with 25 questions on it and I got 13 right, my grade would be 52%. That's one scenario. I want you to write a scenario as well, and I will check your notes to make sure you have these written on each problem. Okay? So now let's move on to the next one. You can pause this while you're writing your scenario. Now this time we know the percent. 85 out of 100 is what percent? 85%, right? So now I'm missing the number that is out of 20. So what this is asking me is, what number that's A. What number is A out of 20, 20 is the total, is 85%? So I know that 85 out of 100, this is 85%. Okay? So A out of 20. So instead of saying A out of 20, all I said is what number? Because I don't know what A is. So what number, A, which is A, out of 20 is equal to 85%. So what number out of 20 is 85%? Well, let's find out. We're going to use that cross multiplication again. Cross multiply 100 times A. Cross multiply 20 times 85. 100 times A is 100A. 20 times 85 is 1,700. And now, in order to solve this, we have 100 being multiplied by A, and we need to isolate A, get it by itself. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we need to divide by the same number A is being multiplied by. A is being multiplied by 100, so I divide by 100. Whatever I do to one side of an equation, I must also do to the other side. So 100 divided by 100 is 1. 1A, 1 times A, is just A. 1,700 divided by 100 is 17. And if you needed to see that, I will do the long division for you. 100 into 1,700. It goes one time into 170, that's 100. Subtract. How many times does 100 go into 700? 7 times. Subtract. So the answer is 17. So now what does that mean? That means that 17 out of 20 is 85%. So now give me a scenario for this one. I want you to write another scenario. That means that if my dog had 20 puppies and 17 of them survived, 85% of them are alive. 15% of them are dead, but 85% of them are alive. So you choose your scenario and you write your own scenario here. Now we have to set up the proportion ourselves. They're telling us 20 is what percent of 25? So they worded it maybe a little bit different, but that's okay. I can see this, I can pick out the words. 20 out of 25. That means 20 out of 25. And I have to tell them what percent. That's what they're asking me, what percent. we don't know the percent. So it's P, we don't know. But we do know all percents are out of 100 because the word percent means per 100. Okay? So again, we cross multiply. 25 times P and 20 times 100. 25 times P is 25P. And 20 times 100 is 2,000. 25 is being multiplied by P, and I need P to be isolated. So I do the inverse of multiplication, which is division. Divide by 25 here. Divide by 25 here. 25 divided by 25 is 1. 1 times P is just P. And 2,000 now divided by 25. 25 goes into 200. 8 times, that's 200. And 25 goes into 0, 0 times. I substitute P in my fraction here. So I have P over 100, and now I know P is 80, so I have 80 over 100. 80 over 100 equals 80%. So, what does that mean? That means 20 is what percent? 80% of 25. So again, write your own scenario. I could say that means if I had a quiz with 25 questions on it and I got 5 wrong, that means I got 20 right. If I got 20 right, that means I got 20 out of 25. 20 out of 25 means that I have 80% on my quiz, which means I got a B. So you write your scenario for this problem. What is 16% of 50? So this time I have what out of 50? What out of 50? I don't know what. What out of 50? And I have 16%. That's 16 over 100, because all percents are out of 100. I cross multiply. X times 100. And 50 times 16. X times 100 is 100x. And 50 times 16. 800. Divide here by 100. Then you must do the same to the other side. Divide by 100. 100 divided by 100 is 1. 1 times x is x. 800 divided by 100 is 8. So that means 8 is 16% of 50. So now write your own scenario of this. Your own scene. What does that mean? What could that mean? That means if somebody gave me $50 and I spent 8 of it, so far I have spent 16% of my money. What percent do I have left? That means that I have 84% left. Because 100 minus 16, 100% of my money is 50. If I subtract 16 from 100, I get 84. That means I have 84% left. So you make up your own scenario for that one. 90 is 75% of what? Well, this time I have 90 out of what? 90 out of what? Is 75%. That's 75 out of 100. Cross multiply, x times 75, and 90 times 100. 75x, 9,000, divide by 75, then you must do the same here, divide by 75. 75 divided by 75 is 1, 1 times x is x, and 9,000 divided by 75. 75 into 90, 1 time, 10 minus 5 is 5, 8 minus 7 is 1, bring down the 0, 75 into 150, 2 times, 75 times 2 is 150, subtract, bring down the 0, 75 into 0, 0 times, 0. So, I have 120. X is 120. That means that 90 is 75% of 120. So again, write your own scenario here. What does that mean? Maybe that means if I had 120 questions on a test and I got 90 right, then I got 75% right. That means I have a C. What percent did you get wrong? You should have answered 25%. Well, how many questions is that? Well, if there's 120 and you got 90 right, you got the rest wrong. How much is the rest? 30 questions. Well, that means 30 questions that you got wrong out of 120 must be 25%. Because 100% minus 75% is 25%. So that's how much is left. Okay? So you write yours. And this is the last one. 30 is what percent of 150? So again, I have what percent? I don't know the percent. That's P over 100. I don't know. 30 out of 150. 30 out of 150. Cross multiply. 150 times P is equal to 30 times 100. 150 times P is 150P. 30 times 100 is 3,000. Divide by 150. Divide by 150. 150 divided by 150 is 1. 1 times P is P. And 3,000 divided by 150 is 20. And if you want to see it, 3,000 divided by 150. 150 goes into 300 2 times. Bring down the 0, 0. So what does that mean? 30 is 20 over 100 or 20%. 20% of 150. And again, write your own scenario. Thank you very much, and I will see you all tomorrow.